Grand rising and priming powerful beings. Shout out to you. It's the Holistic Motivator, and today I'm going to be talking about developing comeback power. How to be resilient and persistent even when you let yourself down. How to be resilient and persistent even when things go the opposite way. How to be resilient and persistent regardless of what happened yesterday. Making a determined, deliberate effort that today is the new day, and today is the day that I am going to be a blessing to myself and to the world by letting it go so I can grow. Moving forward, doing the best with your current opportunity. So, if you've been going through shame, blame, guilt, woe to me, I should have done better, I could have done better, I didn't do this, I could have done that, this episode is for you. This is a podcast, and you can actually listen to it on the go by listening and subscribing on your favorite podcast app. The hub for Ed Talks Daily is edtalksdaily.com. There you can find the reviews, you can leave a review, you can donate. There you can watch videos, you can watch exclusive content that you can't listen to while you're listening to here. There you can read articles and many other things. You can send me a voice message. Let me know how this podcast has empowered you. So go to edtalksdaily.com if you want to subscribe. Now, developing comeback power is understanding that no matter what you currently looking at right now, that you may say, oh, it shouldn't be like this, or it could have been like that, or you may feel bad about doing a certain thing. Maybe you said this is going to be my diet, and then all of a sudden you came off your diet. Maybe you said this is going to be my exercise regimen, but all of a sudden you came off your exercise regimen. Maybe you said I'm fasting, but you didn't do it like you thought you should. Maybe you said I made these new dedication to how I'm going to use my money, but for some reason you're not using your money. Maybe you said I'm going to be this consistent in doing this thing for my brand or for my business, and maybe it's not going like that. So a lot of times things don't always go the way we want them to go. But however, we don't have to go with them. Just because something doesn't go the way you want it to go doesn't mean you have to go with them. Doesn't mean you have to hit yourself in the head with your own thoughts. I like to call that overthinking. It doesn't mean that you have to hit yourself in the head with your own behaviors. I like that doubting yourself, doubting the future for you, because you might say, hey, well, I thought I could do it, but I didn't. Or I thought I said this, but I didn't. Sometimes when your words are not matching your actions, you may feel like out of integrity, right? Your words not matching your actions just says, okay, time for you to adjust and get back in one. It does not mean, oh, let's pull apart all the reasons why I'm not good enough, right? When your word is not in alignment with your actions, the best way to keep moving forward is just to align your actions with your words. Now, I'm not telling you, oh, go change around your word, right? I'm just saying, let's just rearrange your actions. And one of the best ways to do that is to recognize that, look, if you acted one way today, does that mean that that has to linger in tomorrow? Not necessarily. If you acted one day today and yesterday and then the day before, does that mean that they have to linger on to the next day and then the next week? Not necessarily, right? Shout out to 2022 Lighthouse, shout out to you. It does not necessarily have to linger on, because what you can choose to say is, okay, I have values, I have standards, great. I'm a intentional living being. And since I'm so intentional, these markers, I'm not hitting them right now. You know what? This is not what I accept for my life. This is how I choose to be. You know what? I'm going to readjust. I'm going to adjust myself to align myself with what I said I was going to be like. And if we can do that process hour by hour, we could do that process day by day, we can actually do that process minute by minute, that means we never have to suffer our behaviors, our actions, or not meeting up to our own expectations. That means that literally from the moment of that recognizing, to be recognizant of, to see again based on what you saw before, you can now choose to actually do different. That's the power of the neocortex. That's the power of choice. This is where empowerment comes from. Empowerment is not that I'm so perfect that I don't have to push myself through stuff. Empowerment is, in spite of my imperfections, I push myself through stuff. This is empowerment. I'm able to get myself out of low states to high states. I'm able to elevate myself from thinking that maybe I should be. I stop shooting over myself, and I start saying all the could. I start seeing possibilities. And once you start to notice possibilities, this is a great way for life change. Not missed opportunities. Because sometimes we stay stuck on missed opportunities. Oh, well, I missed the opportunity to do that. I missed the opportunity to be good in that way. But guess what? You missed that opportunity. That's all it meant. It didn't mean that you missed the opportunity. You missed that opportunity. And now you have this opportunity. But if you keep thinking about that opportunity, you're going to miss this one. That means that every day you get a new opportunity to elevate out of your current situation. So if you're stuck to the past situation, you won't take advantage of the new opportunity. Now you only see what is available for you is no longer available because you only see what once was not the way you wanted it to be. So now you start operating in the spirit of lack, or in the spirit of blame, or in the spirit of shame or guilt. So we want to arise from that, and you want to elevate. You got comeback power. Okay, that's the episode's title. You have comeback power. Look, sometimes along your path, you may have made a determined, deliberate effort, a decision that shifted everything for you. And sometimes you think that the decision sometimes is only just going to be sustained by the decision. No, the decision is going to be sustained not by being perfect. The decision is going to be sustained that you keep moving forward. You have comeback power and resiliency in spite of things not going the same way. So resiliency is not that you have no resistance. Resiliency is not the lack of resistance. Resiliency is you could bounce, you can mold, you can work around it. You can work around your inner resistance. You could work around the outer challenges. Resiliency says this person is not easily broken because this person is too bendable. That's resiliency. Okay? So I want you to focus on tapping into a moment in your life. A moment in your life where you realize that, you know what? I actually was going a certain route, and then I'm going this route, and then all of a sudden something happened that made me feel like I got off track. I want you to think of that moment that you made a decision that, you know what, I'm not necessarily off track. Maybe I just stopped in the middle of the road, and then for somehow you got back on the train. You just kept that train going, right? Because you realized that, oh, maybe this is just a little stop so I can reflect and really check myself, and then you got back on it. So I really want you to tap into that. The reason why I say that is, if you did it once, you can. If you did it before, you can do it again. Okay? If you did it once, you can do it again. So take some time to breathe, meditate, and just think about that. Okay. By the way, the people who's tapping in, share this content to 5 friends and comment done. If you did it before, you can do it again. All right. I'm gonna be right with you. I'm sending a text message. I'm live on IG and sharing a message about the ability to be resilient. Bang. Bang. It's sent. Okay. Now let's talk about shame, blame, and guilt. Let's talk about shame, blame, or guilt. Okay. Being out of integrity means your actions are not matching your words. Realigning yourself to be in one with your values is saying that I'm going to realign my action with my words. And what gets in the way of realigning your actions with your words is the words that are in your mind that are negative. And we can say these are negative self-talk, negative, destructive self-talk. Self-talk that tries to remind you of how incapable you are, or how invaluable you are, or how you can never hold on to this, or how you do this. What these thoughts do in your mind is they rob you of what's really happening, what's really there for you, what's really available. Thoughts that say, well, look, you're not good enough, or look, you did this in the past, and look how you're doing this again. Thoughts like that, what it does to you is it literally does not keep you, it does not get you in your comeback power. Thoughts that says, well, you're just like this person, or you're just like that person, are self-destructive thoughts that literally taint your possibilities. Why? Because you're not really seeing yourself. You're blaming yourself. You're shaming yourself. You're guilt tripping yourself. You're talking about, you're like, man, how many times am I going to have to start this diet? Or how many times am I going to have to start my workout regimen? How many times did I say I was going to let go of these habits? Right? These thoughts, they literally rob you of what's really available for you. Right? I like to say, like, the devil don't want to see you grow. So in order for the devil don't want to see you grow, so he's going to remind you how much you're much like him. And the reality is, then that robs your self-compassion, because you look at the dark and you say, I'm only the dark side, forgetting that you can actually step into the light. So what I mean by that is, don't let your mind convince you that you are your mistake. Don't let your mind convince you that you are your mess up. Don't let your mind convince you that you are your indulgences. Routine. Let your spirit tell you that, oh, I am not this. I am actually a light that can transcend all of that, right? And because of that, because I know that, because I'm certain of that, today this is what I am choosing to do with my life, right? You have to understand that you are not your circumstances. You are not your mess up. You are not your vices. You are not your troubles. You're much powerful than that. So this is where in that power, I'm telling you, in your power to recognize the truth about who you are, you're able to transcend the lies about yourself that others convince you, that your mind convince you, and so many different things. When you really recognize who you truly are, your mind can no longer convince you of what you are not. Right? That is a way of talking. That's a behavior. That's a vice. That's a habit. That's a routine. That's a thought. Right? That's a constant emotion. Right? So maybe you said, I'm not going to snap like this. Or I'm not going to be this angry. I'm going to be more compassionate and loving. Maybe that was your determination. It's time for me to stop snapping. Then you stop snapping for a week. You stop snapping for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden something happened, and really you could control yourself, but it didn't happen at that moment. So instead of giving yourself the leeway to say, well, I know I could have controlled myself, but it didn't happen at that moment. Now you get mad at yourself all day for getting mad or get upset in that moment, rather than really figuring out how to put water to the fire. So now you walk around with the anger towards yourself, and now it's coming out more and more. And then now you're like, well, you see, I can never really change. I can never really transform. I'm just that angry person. And then your mind just over you, and it doesn't give you justice, because you say, I'm just this, I'm just that, and all of a sudden you forgot that 3 weeks ago I was really being conscious in how I respond, and today, after me blowing up, I can actually be conscious how I respond again. Now, what does that do for you? When you are able to shift your mind like that, it literally shortens the gap between you going a certain path, you falling off the path, and then you getting right back on it, because you recognize that this is not a wagon that I fell off. This is a way that I chose to behave. This is a way that I chose to think. This is a trait that I chose to act. This is a way that I chose to. And because I chose to do this before, right now I'm choosing to do it again. Let's say you were recognized for the last 4 weeks, I went to the gym 2 or 3 times a month, 3 times a week. And then last week you just didn't go once. Hey, there is no problem here. You just missed the week. Just say, I took a week to rest. Now, I'm not saying for you not to hold yourself accountable. In fact, accountability can be like, okay, I actually had the time to go to the gym. I didn't. I own it to myself that I gave more value to these things than going to the gym. You know what? I'm not going to feel so bad about that. I can say that even though I didn't go to the gym, when I said I was going to go to the gym, I still gave myself time to rest. Being able to do that shifts you out of like any shame or blame or guilt. It's like, okay, I'm seeing it from a different lens, because this helps you come back, means you're able to move forward as quick as possible. And I'm going to read what Abdul says. Understanding how your brain works and taking control over its reactions is critical to living a life worth living, an empowered life. Exactly. Well said. Understanding how your brain works. Like, one of the reasons why I'm sharing it like this is because I know the conversations that's happening within me, right? And I know how I'm feeling about myself, right? This is self-awareness. If you don't know the conversations that are happening inside of you, and you don't know how you feel about yourself, you're actually going to get convinced by your own mind that this is it. But in reality, this is a game that your mind is playing. This is a game that your mind is playing. And shout out to you, bro. I remember when I met you at FAU promoting and meeting you. So it's good to see you here. And you know, all we can do is just tap in and get it for yourself and add it in your life, and you add value to people. You know, I'm just a vessel to be able to share this. I'm literally talking about my life, right? So this rising, I wrote an affirmation that says, I am not my circumstances or decisions. I am a light that can transcend all dark parts of myself. Right? And I said this affirmation with belief. I'm going to say it again. I am not my circumstances or decisions. I am a light that can transcend all dark parts of myself. Now, it does not say that I don't take responsibility for my circumstance or my decisions. Right? If you don't acknowledge and take responsibility, you know, this is one way of saying, well, it's not my fault. Right? And then that's how you remain full of faults, is when you never take responsibility. You see, the person who says, you know what, I actually made the wrong decision. I actually made the wrong choice. You know what, I actually got myself in this circumstance, and then, you know what, it actually did not serve me. But I know that I am not this choice, this decision, or this circumstance. I can transcend any parts of me that I don't like, because I am the master of and the captain of my. So what I'm saying is, the moment you are able to make these mental shifts, you find you're like, wait, what am I tripping over? Oh, maybe I didn't text this person back fast enough. Oh, why don't I just go text him now? Or what am I tripping over? It's literally a mind trip. Or maybe I didn't talk to this person for so long, now I'm feeling guilty about it. How much more guilty would I feel if I keep ignoring it? How much less guilty would I be if I just took action on it? Or maybe I know I should be doing that thing, but I haven't been doing it. For some reason, I self-sabotaged it. And you might keep saying, well, you know, every time that I look at this thing, it makes me feel bad about what I didn't do. But how would it be like if you looked at it and you did it? How would you feel like? I want you to see on the other side of your resistance is actually what you want. And some people, they're like, man, I don't want to face that resistance by acknowledging it, by saying it is so, and then moving forward, and it becomes more of a burden, right? It becomes worse. It comes from a day to 2 days now, from a 2 days to 3 days now, from 3 days to 4 days, now it's a week, then it's 2 weeks, and it's 3 weeks. Now you're lingering in your suffering that you've been inflicting on yourself, right? So I want to give a shout out to you. It says, I was walking to university and could not find anyone to talk to that was actually vulnerable, just closed off people. And the holistic motivator approaches me with a real genuine smile and a heart full of love. All right. I remember that day, right? And I was talking to people, promoting my podcast and promoting what I had going on. And I was tapping in. It's what I do. So I appreciate you for sharing that. So I was saying, like, what we got to do is, and that's something to remind me of too. You know how you just said that? What if, like, sometimes I'm like, bro, okay, man, I'm not doing that, or look how I did that, or what I do. You got to look back and say, man, what are all the good things I did in my life? Like, what are some of the good stuff? What are some of the good moments, right? or somebody might want to make you feel like you just like the worst person in the world because of something that happened and they didn't. You got to look at yourself and say, man, am I really? No, that's not true, right? So we have to dismantle these cognitive dissonances, these cognitive distortions, I may say, right? Where we're far away from the truth, or we got the truth confused, or somebody gaslighting you into thinking that, your truth was not even really right. And you have to understand, right? You not stand on any limiting beliefs, but really stand over it, right? Stand over everything that happens, rise above it, look at it, right? Be aware of it, see the flaws, see the mess up, right? Right? What they say, like, see how you reverted back to, what they call it. They say, if you stop smoking or you stop doing something and you went back to doing it, that's called a relapse, right? See what happened that caused it, and then say, hey, look, I don't have to keep this cycle going. I can break this right now. I did it before. Let's get back to the same road. Let's keep walking this road. Let's keep the story moving forward. If you start buying into the old story, it's going to convince you. It's going to be like, man, just hit it again, and then just do that again. Like just do that again. I know you said you just do that again, right? But you got to say, nah, look, I did it. Okay, I got distracted. I'm gonna get on point. Let's just keep going with it, right? And you keep adjusting, and you keep doing that over and over. That is what I mean by comeback power. You have the ability to come back, to withstand the storms, to forego the shame, let go of the blame, let go of the guilt, let go of what other people you think they're going to perceive you, and recognize how God sees you. And see yourself with the infinite love and light of God. And this is what's going to free you the most. Not just your thoughts, but really understanding how God is so forgiving, how like you are still being able to be used by God, how you're still blessed regardless of your sins, regardless of what you think it makes you bad. I want you to understand that even if your parents might look at you and say, man, I could never, this is not my son or my daughter. Even if your boyfriend or your girlfriend says, I'm not going to deal with you because you're not this or you're not that. But God is, at the end of the day, God's going to come back and say, look, I know you toxified your temple and my presence was not as dwelling in you as possible, but go ahead, clear it again. I'm coming right back in there. I never left, right? This is the power of God. God never leaves you, right? Maybe the voice might be louder or less. It's probably because you've clogged up your ear. And as soon as you unclog it up, you start to hear it, right? It never went away. The light of God never leaves you. However, the devil is going to convince you that it did. It's going to try to shame on you, guilt on you, or wait, oh man, you're going to make you feel very stupid. Like, what? Why did you do that? Like, why did you mess up that? And then now, feeling very stupid does not allow you to operate in your wisdom and you being smart, because you are smart, but you're going like, oh man, you so stupid, right? And all these thoughts rob you of you being able to say, okay, up until this point, this is how I've operated, this is how I behaved, this is how I think, this is how I thought, this is what I did. Up until this point, this is what happened. But today, I'm choosing that I'm going to do much better. Today, I'm choosing I'm going to keep moving forward. Today, I'm going to choose this is the path that I said I was going to walk. I'm going to realign myself, my actions with my word, and I'm going to live in one. I'm going to be in integrity. I'm going to be in divine appointment with God and what he put in my heart to do, and keep doing it no matter what. So that's pretty much the message for today. I just wanted to come on here and share that with y'all. And just empower you, keep doing your thing, keep the process, trust the process, don't give up. Everybody who's been tapping into this podcast consistently, and I definitely ask that if you've been listening, to go and leave me a review by going to edtalksdaily.com/reviews. If you haven't done so already, one of the best ways to support this podcast is by leaving a review. It means way more to me than a good thanks on the comments, right? I always say I love the affirmations, but I don't necessarily need them to keep going. However, this review is not an affirmation to me as much as it's an affirmation to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I already know I'm doing the work, but what I mean by that is when Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and specifically on those platforms, make sure you click rate on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. once you're able to do that, guess what happens? It tells them like, oh, this podcast should be broadcasted to more people, right? And I believe this podcast should be broadcasted. Do you believe that more people could benefit from this, right? Do you believe that some kid out here could actually learn from this? Do you believe that you wish you would have found this earlier on in your life, right? So there's this kid out there, there's this young adult, there's the elder, there's so many different people who can benefit from this podcast. So you can actually be part of this ministry. And by that, I mean you can actually help spread the word. And the way that you can do that is actually by going to edtalksdaily.com/reviews and then click rate on Apple Podcasts or rate on Spotify. And then you go ahead, you leave a review, and then you click the 4 or 5 stars, and you write something in, and you let me know how the podcast has empowered you. And that's going to tell Apple Podcasts and then Spotify, hey, you know what? More people should be listening to this. And what they're going to do ultimately is they're going to start sharing it. I'm going to get on the charts more. And then the work will continue to be done. I'll continue to do what I've been doing consistently. But now it will just be done and reaching more people. And if you want to be a part of that growth and development, I totally ask for your help. One of the major things that I want you to know is I don't want you to leave the review on my website directly. I want you to go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave it on there. On the website, it looks good. I love it, and I appreciate your feedback, but it does not spread it, right? So on Spotify and Apple Podcasts is where it's spread it. And for those of you who wonder how to do it, literally, when you go on Spotify, you're going to Ed Talks Daily Personal Growth and Motivation. Make sure you subscribe. You're going to see a star. You're going to click the star, and it's going to allow you to pick 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever stars, and you're able to write a comment. And the same thing for Apple Podcasts. You want to scroll all the way down, and then you're going to see reviews. First, you search Ed Talks Daily Personal Growth and Motivation. Then you scroll all the way down, and you're going to see reviews. And then you click the 5 stars, and then you're able to go in and write what you think about it. So that's how you spread the word, and that's how you help me help more people. So that's my message, and I'm sticking to it. I want to thank you in advance for doing that for me, for looking out, and for helping the world. So I want to remind you that you have the unlimited power to come back regardless of what struggles, no matter what challenges, no matter what doubts, and regardless of the shame or the guilt or the blame. You have the ability to come back. But first, you not only have to believe that, but you got to act your way out of it. Take action on what you know you need to do. Get yourself right again. Adjust and keep the process moving forward. Don't stop in the middle of the road because it didn't look like you wanted to. Just pick up your bags and keep on walking, right? Until you keep doing that over and over and over and adjusting and sharing your gifts. If you don't do that, the world will forever miss all your talents, all your gifts, and all the great things you have to offer. So remember this. Remember to always let your light shine regardless of how it looks like. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. It's the Holistic Motivator, and I want to thank y'all for watching. Peace.